So XOXO is a Netflix movie about the intertwining stories of a bunch of people going to the biggest EDM festival in the country, the titular XOXO. And it's about how they all play into each other as everyone learns a lesson and falls in love or some shit. But it mainly centers on this kid Ethan, who at the last minute gets a gig at the festival because his song has crossed 1 million views on YouTube 8 hours before his set is meant to start. There's also a girl named Crystal who's looking for love. A couple on the eve of starting a long-distance relationship. Ethan's manager Tariq trying to get into the festival, and Krista Ellie is there to be deadpan. And I will say, the two characters I liked the most in this were Krista Elias and Tariq, played by Brett Del Bueno. This guy. It's not that the others were annoying exactly, but they just weren't interesting. And you can't have a movie about a music festival without a trippy drug sequence. To quote Dan Jackson from Thrillist, it'd be like a Nick Cage movie where he doesn't freak out. And that was really where this movie peaked for me, because the drug sequence isn't amazing, but it's still creative and had me interested. And Krista Elio was definitely my avatar throughout the movie.
Is there Wi-Fi on the bus?
Dude. Kill yourself.
Look, I don't hate EDM. I know people see it as, wow, look at how music is getting so sanitized, but really, it's dance music. What more do you want from it? EDM is to this generation what raves were to the 90s and disco in the 70s. It's just there to get you moving, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's only when people act like there's some greater meaning of love and acceptance behind it that I start to get annoyed, but as it stands, I'm fine with it. And the music here is pretty half and half. Some of it's good, and the rest are the most basic EDM songs imaginable. But Pete Tong was a producer and music supervisor on this, so points for trying, I guess? You see, at the germ of it, I see an interesting idea to take Project X and make it with the heart of a John Hughes movie. But instead, we get the story structure of God's Not Dead presented as Jem and the Holograms. Now, it's nowhere near as bad as either of those films. In fact, this one at least knows to keep it short at 1.5 hours. But just because something's short doesn't mean it's still not a waste of time. First off, this movie is not a story. It is a never-ending series of cliches in the hopes of finding a story, with so many intertwining subplots that there are characters you flat out forget are in the movie, and when it comes back to them, you go, wait, who are they? Oh yeah, you're in this. In fact, there's a scene that shows what I'm talking about. So anyone that pays attention to writing knows scenes like these. A character opens with a line that's weird or has you confused, but still gets you intrigued to see where they go with it. And then when they explain themselves, you get an insight into the character.
Hazel Grace, they don't actually hurt you unless you light them. It's a metaphor, see? You put the thing that does the killing right between your teeth, but you never give it the power to kill you.
Well, here's how one of the characters, Crystal, describes what she wants in a relationship.
More swirly.
I'm sorry, did you say swirly?
It's like you go through life alone, right? And all of your experiences, choices, feelings, everything, it's all your own. And then you get to share all of those moments with somebody else, like a perfect sunset, or a festival, or a kiss.
So what makes you think this guy Jordan is the one to swirl with you?
And it's like, she really could have picked any other word because she doesn't tie it back to what she's talking about. He makes the connection for her while she just babbles a bunch of basic stuff about love. And really, that's this whole movie. Something interesting at first, but then just an onslaught of cliche after cliche after cliche. And the thing is, as bad as it is, I was never angry about it. It wasn't so bad it was good or so bad it was, well, bad. It was just there. I could have just watched the first episode of The Get Down again. At least that had stuff to talk about. At least that had a sense of fun to it. This was like listening to a greatest hits album by a one-hit wonder. You dig that one song, but with everything else you go, none of this hit to begin with, so why am I listening to it? Because all the cliches they're rehashing weren't good to begin with, so what is there to get from this? I'm not trying to come down on it. I can see someone telling me I'm looking too deep into this, but really, it's just a waste of time. I give it a 1.5. I don't even know what that half point is, but I guess I just don't want it to seem like I hated it. It's just empty. But if you have seen it, what did you think of it? Am I looking too deep into this? Did you like it? Or am I spot on? Leave a comment, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.